Oh, good evening, everyone. It's a warm summer evening in this ashram, and we've just spent an inspiring week tuning into God and Guru. And as has been the tradition in all ashrams across time and space, whether it's on the banks of the Ganga River 5,000 years ago or near the Yuba River in California right now, the tradition's always the same. After a fine Indian meal that fulfills the soul, we listen to a story. Now, this story, I want to set a little bit of a context for this. Much of Indian scriptural literature is meant to be sung or chanted. The simplest of them are simple compositions in Sanskrit, and they are known as mantras. They have transformative power. They can uplift the consciousness, and they are very simple, maybe 6 syllables, Om Namah Shivaya, 12 syllables, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, 24 syllables, the Gayatri Mantra, 32 syllables, the Mahamrityunjaya Mantra. They are very, very simple. And there are other compositions that run a little bit longer, but amongst all of them, 2 of them stand out. They are each 700 verses long, and that is exactly 22,400 syllables. Both of these are chanted because they are mantric in nature. And both of these are believed to have great transformative power, allowing you to transcend the day-to-day suffering and see the greater reality. The first of these 700 verse mantric compositions is, of course, the Bhagavad Gita. And we spent an entire week, and perhaps you all felt the transformative power of tuning into it. The second one is called the Durga Saptashati, the 700 verses extolling Divine Mother. When she took human form, a cry of anguish went up from suffering humanity. And Divine Mother, who couldn't bear this cry of anguish, immediately took human form, and she came down to earth. And she fought evil with such ferocity that only a mother can do, because the ferocity doesn't come from anger, it comes from love. So it endures and endures and endures. And isn't Divine Mother the mother of all universe? So how can there be a bad outcome when Divine Mother fights? Even Divine Mother's anger is uplifting. Durga Saptashati has 3 stories of Divine Mother coming into human form, and I'm going to tell you the third and the most famous of them all. I'm going to dish out for you more than the usual helping of magic, mayhem, mystery, and devotion in this story. Sit back and listen like a child and open your heart, and ask yourself, is this a story that happened in a distant land a long time ago to some people that I don't know? Or is it my story, your story, waiting to happen if you only said yes? So, a long, long time ago, 2 demons, in a remote corner of the earth, a cleft opened up and 2 demons came up to earth. All is not as we see around us. We have the surface of the earth where you and I are. Beneath us in the underground are demons. They are known as asuras. Their job is to create chaos. Above us, where you can't see with the naked eye, are the devas, and their job is to preserve order and support dharma. So these 2 demons, Shumbha and Nishumbha, emerged from a cleft in a remote corner of the earth. They were already very, very powerful. These were demons after all. By definition, they are powerful. But they wanted even more power. Whether you want to enhance your power or diminish your power, you can only do it on earth. Up and below, it's preordained. So they came up to earth, and then they went into the Himalayas and began to meditate. It's called tapasya. They performed austerities for many, many years. And eventually the creator Brahma became very happy and appeared in front of them and said, "My children, I'm very happy with what you've done. What boon do you seek?" And they said, "Lord, we seek to be immortal." And the creator was a very ancient-looking man with 4 faces. After all, by definition, creator is the oldest amongst us, isn't he? So he, with his 4 faces, long flowing hair and 4 beards, he laughed silently with such great mirth, all his beards shook with laughter, and he said, No, I can't make you immortal. There is only one law that I cannot transcend. Everybody that's born has to die. Ask me something else. So they kind of confab together, Shumbha and Nishumbha, the two demons. They wanted to game the system. You see, they wanted to wordsmith their ask in such a way that they would effectively be immortal. So they talked about amongst themselves for a little bit, and they came up with an idea. Said, okay, Lord, we got it. We know what we want. And they said, grant us the boon that no man can kill us. You see, in the realm of demons, they don't die because of sickness. They don't get pandemics. They don't get high blood pressure, skin disease, irritable bowel. None of those happens. They just live and live unless someone else kills them. So they kill each other. And in their world, it's always the men that do the killing. They think women are too soft for this. Little do they know. Wait and find out. And they said, let no man kill us. And the Lord said, Tathastu, so be it. And they thought they were immortal. And from this great cleft in the earth, hundreds of thousands of other demons emerged. And they began to loot every kingdom and conquer every empire. And pretty soon, they were the lords of all of the earth, Shumbha and Nishumbha. And this wasn't enough for them. So they looked up into the heavens, and using their magical powers, they ascended up to the heavens. This is the realm of Devas. Now, who are the Devas? Surya, the sun, is a Deva. The job of the Devas is to preserve order on earth so that we can work out our karma. What is the job of the sun? He has only two jobs. One is to be punctual. He cannot work from home, he cannot sleep in, he cannot be late, he cannot take a day off. He's got to be punctual because time is set by Surya. His second job is to give us warmth and to give us light. Similarly, there is Vayu, the god of wind. What is his job? He has to give gentle breezes, he has to maintain the weather across the world, and inwardly within our bodies, he has to animate us and give us enough strength to either seek God or sink deeper into delusion. He doesn't care. His job is to enable that. There's Agni, the god of fire, whose job is to cook and to transform, to take one thing and make it into a usable form. And therefore, the job of fire is to purify. And the king of all gods, Indra, what do you think his job is? His job is to send rains down at proper time because without rains, there is no food. Without food, the body cannot survive, and if the body cannot survive, nobody can work out their karma and go to God. So he's the king of gods. Shumbha and Nishumbha, the demons, ascended up into the heavens. So great was their power that they fought with all of the devas and banished them from the heavens. What happens if the sun is no longer in the heaven? What happens if Vayu, the god of wind, is no longer in the heaven? There was chaos on earth. There was floods. There were famines and pandemics, tornadoes, cyclones and tsunamis, volcanoes and earthquakes came unbidden. And fear reigned in the hearts of men and women. And just like that, Shumbha and Nishumbha became the lords of the three worlds. The Devas, who only wanted to do what God had ordained them, they were very sorrowful. So they went into a beautiful flower-filled meadow deep into the Himalayas, and there they began to pray to Divine Mother because they knew that when her children are in trouble, Divine Mother is going to incarnate and take away all their trouble. She had told them, when you are in trouble, just think of me, and in a second I will come and eliminate whatever it is that is troubling you. So they go up into this beautiful valley up in the Himalayas, and then they begin to pray to Divine Mother, and they say, Ya Devi Sarva Bhuteshu Daya Rupena Samsthita Namastasyai 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 Namo Namaha. Devi is the name given to Divine Mother across all of Indian scriptures. So they say, O Devi, who is present in all of creation in the form of compassion, we bow to you, we bow to you, we bow to you, we completely surrender to you. And they say, Ya Devi Sarva Bhuteshu Shakti Rupena Samsthita Namastasyai 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 Namo Namaha. O Divine Mother who is present in all of creation as power, I bow to you, I bow to you, I bow to you, I fully surrender to you. They say, you are present as restlessness, I bow to you. You are present as divine memory, I bow to you. You are present as discriminating intellect, I bow to you. And then they say, the entire valley vibrates with the power of the chant of the resplendent gods who have descended from their golden chariots and are in the mudra of meditation. And then they say, the entire valley, they chant, Ya Devi, Sarva Bhuteshu Matra Rupena Samsthita, Namastasyai, 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 Namo Namah. O Divine Mother, who is present in all of creation as the love of all mothers, I bow to you. I bow to you. I bow to you. I fully surrender to you. And as they say this, their already glowing bodies begin to radiate a little bit more of an ethereal glow. And this glow spreads down from their feet, and the earth and the meadow begins to glow a little bit. The river shimmers with a divine radiance, and the sky is a little bluer, the sun is a little brighter, the snow-covered peaks are a little whiter. And all of this radiance coalesces into a gigantic pillar of light in front of them, and from within the pillar emerges Durga, the human form of Divine Mother. She is sitting on a gigantic lion, which is as wide as the entire valley. She is the color of fire that's burning brightly. That's her skin color. And she radiates a mellow radiance like the full moon on a crisp fall night. The peaks are aglow with her radiance. She has big, dark eyes and long, dark hair. She has 8 arms, and in 6 of those, she's holding a variety of weapons. And the 7th one is holding a great big conch, and the 8th one is raised up in benediction. She's clad in the finest silks of a pleasing red color. As soon as Divine Mother appears, there is so much love in the air that instantly birds begin to sing, peacocks begin to dance. And the hearts of all men and women are suddenly empty of all fear, and they begin to feel a new hope. Flowers begin to bloom. And Divine Mother speaks. Durga speaks in a voice that sounds like a bell that's coming from both within the heart and across the valley. And she says, my children, I already know what you want. Fear no more. I am going to eliminate the evil Shumbha and Nishumbha and restore order to the world. All of this is being watched. In a cleft in the rock is a little demon. He's watching the whole thing. He's a spy of Shumbha. He has sent them to track the movements of the Devas. Then he runs back to Shumbha and he says, Lord, I saw the most beautiful woman. See, deluded souls see beauty and want to possess it. They say, and enlightened souls see beauty and see Divine Mother in it. So this little demon tells Shumbha, Lord, you have the greatest diamond in the world. You have the best elephant in the world. You have the best horse in the world. You have the best palace in the world. You have the best of everything. Obviously, you need to have the most beautiful woman in the world. And he describes her. And Shumbha looks at it and says, you're right. She does belong to me. It is her lucky day, isn't it? So go back, tell this beautiful woman that she needs to come to me because I have decided to take her as my wife. And send along a few chariots filled with gold and this and that so that she'll know that I'm serious about the whole thing. So the demon goes back, a few chariots of gold and stuff, and he goes to Durga and says, oh, beautiful maiden, the great Lord Shumbha has decided to marry you. Come quick. He has a very, restless mind. He might change his mind, so come right away. And Divine Mother, who wears all of creation simply as a piece of clothing, she laughs inwardly at the absurdity of being possessed by one man. But outwardly, she lowers her eyelids and says, unfortunately, in my foolishness, in my young age, I made a promise to my friends that I'll only marry a man that can defeat me in battle. So, why don't you tell your Lord to quickly come over here and defeat me in battle and gently take my hand? And then a little bit coyly she says, if he cannot do that, let him crawl back into the rock from which he came and go underground. So the emissary of the great Shumbha is angry, but he's just an emissary, so he's not allowed to have feelings. So he runs back to Shumbha and he says, Lord, I got bad news for you. This is what she said. And Shumbha has never been rejected ever since he got the boon. So he's very angry. He doesn't know how to deal with rejection. So he snaps his fingers and 2 of his most fearsome generals come and say, "What is your order, my lord?" Their names are Chanda and Munda. Don't let these weird names fool you, Chanda and Munda, but because they have never been defeated in battle. And Shumbha tells them, take 100,000 soldiers and go to this woman who is up in the Himalayas. Make sure, don't harm her, but bring her to me. So instantly they marshal with their magical powers, 100,000 soldiers, and they close their eyes, and when they open it again, they are right in the middle of the Himalayas. And Durga is sitting there with her lion spread across the valley and smiling, her divine smile. And all the demons begin to throw spears and arrows and great astral weapons at Divine Mother. They come to her like a monsoon cloud. And then Divine Mother, for a moment, knits her brow as if in passing anger. And from the anger of Divine Mother emerges the fearsome form of Kali. She is large in stature, as high as one of the mountains. She is dark-skinned and her eyes are like burning coal. And she has a macabre garland of skulls around her neck. And she has 4 arms, and in one arm she holds a sword, and in another she holds a noose, and in a third arm she holds a head, and in the 4th arm is raised in benediction. And Kali looks at all this cloud of weapons that is coming at her, and like the monsoon cloud occluding the sun, the weapons completely make her disappear. And from within that, Kali opens her mouth, and into this vast maw, the 2 canines of Kali glow with an ethereal power. And all of these weapons disappear into the maw as if reabsorbed back in creation from whence they came. And all the weapons are gone. And before the Asuras can realize what is happening, Kali parts her mouth and begins to make the sound of hum. And this bass sound slowly begins to occupy the bodies of all of the Asuras. They begin to vibrate. It becomes fearsome in its intensity and terrifying in its power. And before they know what has happened, they have vibrated from the inside and exploded and turned into a big pile of ashes. Just by opening her mouth, Kali kills Chanda and Munda and the horde of demons. Nobody survives in the battlefield except hidden in a cleft within the rocks is this one little demon. He looks at it all and he runs back to Shumbha and says, "My lord, I got bad news for you." "What happened?" "Well, she just opened her mouth and Chanda and Munda just vaporized, vanished. One moment they were there and the next moment they were not there." I said, I've never heard of something like that. And he says, "It's time for the nuclear option now." This demon is so powerful that he's actually never been deployed in war. So Shumbha snaps his fingers and in walks this most powerful of all demons. He's a very diminutive guy. He's not very impressive. I mean, he's a demon still. If he walked among us, we'll be very, very scared. But among demons, he's very average, only 10 feet tall. And his canines are not that sharp. His sword looks a little bit blunt. And he walks up, he has a high-pitched voice, and he says, "Lord, why have you called me?" His name is Rakta Bija, blood seed is what it means. He says, Shumbha says, "Rakta Bija, go into the Himalayas." And he tells him what to do. And in an instant, Rakta Bija vanishes from Shumbha's palace, materializes in front of Durga, and the enormous form of Durga and the even greater form of Kali are standing there. And Rakta Bija is just this short, and Durga shoots a mortal arrow at him even as he runs at her with his blunt sword. And the arrow wounds him, and blood spurts from his body and falls into the ground. And from every drop of blood emerges another Rakta Bija, and in an instant, there are 1,000 of them. All of them with their blunt swords and high-pitched voices, they are running towards Durga and Kali. And from Durga's body emerge a horde of Devis. There is Narayani, the power of destruction. There is Ishwari, the power of transformation. And there is Kaumari, the power of youth. And they all come and they all take on the Rakta Bijas. And the more they wound, the more the blood falls, the more Rakta Bijas spurt up. And soon there are 100 million of them. They occupy the entire earth. Durga looks at Kali and they exchange a divine glance. And one feature of Kali I forgot to mention, this is the most distinctive feature. She has a long red tongue which is so long that it comes all the way to the floor. And when Durga looks at Kali, she begins to grow her tongue. And it grows, it comes under the grass, under the feet of all the Raktabijas, under the feet of all the Devas, down into the river, up the ridge top, into the next valley, and occupies the entire earth. So soon, everybody is standing on the tongue of Kali. And then Durga sends a great set of arrows, faster than the eye can see, millions of them, and all the Raktabijas are instantly wounded. And when the blood falls, it no longer falls on the floor, it falls on the great tongue of Kali, and with a sucking sound, she slurps all the blood, and all the demons are dead in an instant. Except, hidden in a cleft in the rock, there's one little demon. He runs back to Shumbha and says, Lord, I got bad news and worse news. What do you want to hear first? So Shumbha says, well, he's had a bad day. He says, tell me the bad news first. And I say, Rakta Bija is dead. He's dead? Wow. Now what's the worst news then? Well, the worst news is there's this lady with the tongue, and we don't know what to do about her. And now Shumbha is besides himself with anger. He doesn't know what to do. And so he himself, with all the remaining army of demons, he materializes in the Himalayas. And then Devi looks at him, Durga looks at him, and she reabsorbs all the other Devis, Narayani and Ishwari and Kaumari and all of them. Only Kali is remaining. And then she looks at Shumbha and says, let us fight. Let them not be involved. And then a fight ensues like the one that the world has never seen before and will never see again. Shumbha and Durga begin to fight. Soon they leave the limiting confines of the earth because their weapons are so destructive that it might harm all of creation. So they fight up into the sky. And they are sometimes invisible, sometimes it gets dark, sometimes it gets light, it feels like it's raining, there is thunder. Nobody knows what's happening, but Durga and Shumbha are fighting. And this fight goes on. Who knows how long it goes on? It goes on and on. But Shumbha begins to feel a strange thing. He realizes that Durga can overcome anything. He has his formidable array of skills, astral weapons, arrows, spears, swords. She can overcome them with great ease. And she fights back just enough that she's a little bit stronger than he. No more. And Shumbha begins to tire. And through that tiredness, through the dim corridors of his deluded consciousness, he begins to sense the love that's coming from Durga. And somewhere he realizes, even my ability to fight is sustained by this love. But still he fights on, because so great is his anger at not being able to possess this woman in front of him. He still looks at her in that way. And then Durga casual, and then Durga decides, let me step it up a notch. And now anytime he removes a weapon, she simply destroys it before it even leaves his hand. What's the point in it coming to me creating some suspense and destroying it? I'll just short circuit the whole process. And then she asks Shumbha, my son, you can fight me for as long as you want. Eventually you'll die. And you'll come back the next incarnation and we'll begin right where we left off. I won't let go. We'll keep fighting and you will keep suffering. Instead, will you not accept my love and surrender to me? You will be liberated instantly. You will have eternal life. Will you not do that? And Shumbha keeps fighting her. Weapon after weapon he removes, it gets vaporized, and then he goes at it again. His anger just does not come under control, but he begins to feel the love of Durga little by little. And eventually, after who knows how long, he bows his head and surrenders. And instantly, Durga has 8 arms. Remember, one of the arms which holds the conch, he takes the conch and blows a great sound of victory. And then in the next arm, she takes a spear, impales his torso. With the third arm, she cuts off his head. And in the fourth arm, she raises her hand, which was raised in benediction already. And a great big light comes out of Shumbha's body and comes into her hand, and from there into her heart. In that instant, Shumbha the demon was instantly redeemed. And Kali vanishes, order was restored on earth, and Durga vanishes from the Himalayas only to take up permanent residence in all of our hearts. And so it was that a long time ago, in a land far, far away, Divine Mother took human form and fought a fierce battle out of love for all of creation and vanquished the great demons Chanda, Munda, Raktabija, and Shumbha. Or was it a long time ago? Is it a battle waiting to happen with you and me right this moment? We cry out in anguish of the suffering of this life, and Divine Mother responds. Durga comes into our hearts in the form of love, and Kali in her ferocious form. Who tells me thou art dark, O my Mother Divine? She slays the inner demons of laziness and anger and the limitless blood seed of desire. And yet, we fight her love lifetime after lifetime. And she keeps asking us, my child, will you not accept my love and surrender to me? And we keep answering no. And then one day, in some lifetime, when it seems that we have suffered the most, when our wounds are the harshest, we suddenly see the great love of Divine Mother and we say, yes, yes, Divine Mother, I accept. And she frees us of our mortal frame and grants us eternal life right that moment. And that's when we say, Ya Devi Sarva Bhuteshu Matra Rupena Samsthita Namastasyai 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 Namo Namaha. O Devi, who's present in all of creation as the love of all mothers, I bow to you, I bow to you, I bow to you, I fully surrender to you. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.